Let's heat things up a little bit. A fireball's a perfect way to get things started.
A wizard. How troublesome. Abjurers, focus on disabling her magic.
You think I only have magic? I'll rip your fucking throat out with my teeth.
Sorinah launches herself towards the deacon before you can stop her. She's quickly surrounded and you're stuck fighting through the flock to reach her.
Ugh. Fucking barriers. Do I scare you that much that you need this many layers of protection? You have no idea how simple that magic really is. I fought would-be gods, and you're nothing compared to them.
Your struggle is commendable, but that won't be enough. Sorinah is launched by an unseen force, landing into a nearby bookshelf. You finally cut your way over to guard her, so she can regain her composure. You don't seem to have too many stakes in this. Lay your weapons down and you will not be injured during your capture. You spit on the ground. What they're doing isn't right. They have to know this. Besides, you can't just let Sorinah get hurt alone. You've got to get your fair share of bruises in too.
You know, when you say stupid shit like that, it almost makes my heart beat. There's another combatant in the room. I got a small bite of it, and that blood tasted abyssal. Seems like we've got some demons amongst these men of God. Don't look so surprised. We both knew some shady shit was happening. Of course it would end up involving some demons. I fucking hate demons. If you can try your best to keep that demon off me, I can do my best to take that deacon down. You've got an idea? Well, I'll follow your lead. My magic isn't going to be too useful since they've got abjurers. Last thing I need to have happen is a counterspell to go off. I'll be a little out of my element with hand-to-teeth combat, but I trust you. You want me to attack the deacon head-on again? Are you fucking kidding me? That's exactly how I landed myself over here in the first place. I'm not exactly looking to take another hit like that. Fine, I'll trust you on this. But if this fails, I'll be healing with your blood.
You two seem to be enjoying your conversation. But I think it's time for you to surrender now.
Ha! As if. I'm still craving your putrid blood. So if you don't mind.
Sorinah zips almost like lightning towards the deacon. Just before they make contact, you bend down and collect dust in your hand and scatter the mixture towards them. An outline of a terrifying demonic creature becomes apparent, and you can see its clawed hands ready to strike Sorinah. You meet its claws with your blade, allowing Sorinah to land a deep bite into the deacon. As she begins to nurse her wound, you see green fluid leaking from it.
The abyss be damned! Ugh. That's a fucking homunculus. Damn it, that tasted terrible. Hey, Deacon. Seems like you've got plenty of secrets. And it seems like your followers are being exposed to it right now. Whatever shall you do?
A pity. A pity that you think this changes anything. Looking more closely at the clerics surrounding you, none of them flinched when you attacked them with your sword. Not to mention their blank expressions.
Ugh! Not only are you some sick creation, but you've been fucking with the minds of actual humans. You're a piece of work.
Enough of these games. I think we're done playing. The deacon raises her hand towards you, and your body begins to seize up and become rigid.
Keep your filthy magic off of them. They're mine.
Don't worry. You're next. Oh, you're resistant to this magic. No matter. Restrain her. even if you have to knock her out.
Sending your clerics to do the dirty work. Fucking coward.
The mindless priests begin to hoard Sorinah. She keeps fighting them off, but it's obvious she's trying not to draw their blood. One of them finally lands a blow on the back of her head, and she slumps on the ground. The both of you are tied up and dragged helplessly to a hidden basement before you're thrown into cells.
Ugh, that really fucking hurts. Huh? 𝗂𝐀𝐀𝐂𝐁. They really know how to treat a girl. Oh, great. Anti-magic cuffs said that.
You help Sorinah sit up, and you lightly touch her bloodied face.
What? Do I look that miserable right now? Well, I can assure you I've been worse off.
Since the two of you are going to be spending a bit of time in here, you decide to take this opportunity to ask her some questions.
What a question to ask me. Are we really doing this here? Now? Why do I always find ways to get myself and my friends into trouble? Well, I guess I just can't help it. When there's something I really don't like, I'm not going to hold myself back. There was actually this time where a slaver was mistreating its slaves, so I just killed him on the spot. I found out where he lived and just returned their papers to them so the slaves could free themselves. My brother ended up having to beat the shit out of some of his friends, and we ended up getting a pretty sizable bounty because of it. Apparently, vigilante justice is frowned upon, but slavery is fine. So I guess, to answer your question, I just do what I want. People just really don't like that kind of freedom in an individual.
You ask her what books she likes to read. Magic, history, esoteric concepts, or does she have a guilty pleasure? And how does she view ASMRs in general, especially their divinity?
Mind if I answer that in two parts? As for books, I really enjoy anything about the occult. Maybe it's due to my heritage, but the horrors beyond the veil have always intrigued me. For concepts, well, I'm an alchemist at heart. I enjoy making poisons, but healing potions and antidotes are far more useful as a mercenary. It even ends up reflecting in the art that I do. All of my paintings are made without using actual paints. I find rare and oftentimes hazardous material to put on a canvas. Anything from something basic like blood to toxic substances like an ooze. You didn't know I painted? Well, I've slowed down my artistic pursuits, that's probably why. Honestly, I just ended up using it to help me control my sanity. And for your other question, my opinion on my more divine heritage, well, that's complicated. I haven't really talked about this with you, but I actually have 3 biological parents. I know, crazy. I have my mother, who is an ASMR. I have my father, who I never met, but is supposedly a vampire. And lastly, I have, another mother, I think. I don't really know if it has a gender, to be honest. But long story short, it's some aberration god or something like that. Essentially, I used to have 33% vampire, 33% aberration, 16% celestial, 16% human in me. But I think it's been a bit skewed after I killed my other mother and stuck her eye in my head. Don't look at me like I'm crazy. The wings on my back are from my ASMR mother. Mine fell off after I died, so I needed a new pair of wings. Well, to answer your question a little bit better, I used to despise my mother, especially for how she treated me and how disgusted she looked when she saw me. After my own ordeals, I now know she was merely just disgusted with herself. I don't put too much stock in my own celestial blood, but I don't think any of us should. I've learned it really doesn't matter where or who I come from, because at the end of the day, if you have mommy or daddy issues, just become better than them. Become so great that their envy suffocates them. They'll regret not loving you when you needed it. To break the tension, you decide to ask her, does she have any exes? Well, well, well. Getting to the more burning questions, are we now? I haven't actually formally courted someone before. I've just had a lot of flings during my adult years, but nothing too serious. There was a tiefling girl in the mercenary group I left. She was timid, shy, and everyone thought she was so innocent. But the way she sang my name when I touched her, I'd hardly call her a saint. Well, she ended up falling in love with me, and I didn't with her. I ended up breaking her heart over and over, and well, we haven't talked in months, ever since I left the mercenary group. Besides her, I only had one person that I may have loved. I'm not sure. Before my life was thrown into chaos, when my life was still in the realm of normal, I fell for a boy. His name was Eli. We were young, dumb, and we thought in love. But people found out about my brother and I being 𝗵𝗺. He was the only person who knew at our village. When my brother's mother died in that fire caused by those villagers, my brother told me it was Eli who told them that he betrayed us. That event was the reason I ended up hating humans for so long. But it was all a lie. We were only 14, and my brother thought me fearing humans would keep me safe. But it didn't. I only found out recently that he lied to me, and I reconnected with Eli this year. He said he would wait for me, for whenever I was ready, but our time has passed. It's too late for us. Besides, puppy love at a young age really doesn't amount to much, does it? Sorry, I didn't realize how much that subject was still raw to me. To answer your question, I don't have any official exes. You feel like you should apologize for bringing it up, but that might make her feel worse. You instead reach your bound hands towards hers and hold them. You smile softly and she laughs lightly. You're really sweet, whenever you're not being a little shit. What's your next question? This seems to have turned into a Q&A, and I'm curious what you're curious about. You come up with a few more questions and ask her, how did she end up as a paladin? And that one time she went insane, what happened? How did I become a paladin? Oh, goddess. A fun question, that one. Well, that ties into the insanity question you asked, so why don't we start with that? When I was born, my connection to aberrant blood allowed creatures beyond the veil to occupy my mind. I thought they were just imaginary friends, but they were really just evil creatures trying to control me. The first 7 years of my life I spent in utter solitude. It was just a locked room with the voices and fictitious shadows of my mind. It wasn't until my mother ran away from my stepdad that I first saw the outside world. That's when the voices got a lot quieter. I promised my mother that I would never talk about it and just try to be a normal kid for the next 7 years of my life. Sadly, though, once my mother's died, I went into a spiral and those damn demons in my mind took hold. They tried to convince me of many things. To kill my brother, to abandon him, that humans were going to kill me whenever he left for work. Well, they were winning. It only took 2 years before my first descent into madness really started. That's when I finally started to go out, and whenever people slighted me, I felt like the only way I'd be safe was to make people fear me. So I'd harm them whenever I thought they would hurt me first. I ended up having horrible visions from beyond the veil when I rested, and it drove me to beg any god to save me from my madness. That's when 𝗂𝐿, the goddess of delight, answered me. She granted me the ability to only need 1 hour of sleep to live. That power alone is what I attribute to me not completely breaking. When I was 32, that's when I met the other members of the Emerald Fang, and my first introduction to Death herself. We were hired to take care of some bandits who ended up being some cultists. I went in alone, and their leader offered me power by consuming his blood. I wasn't particularly interested since I already had a god, but 𝗂𝐿 told me in my mind I would not be affected by that curse if I pretended to drink it and just spit it out whenever he wasn't looking. That was sadly a lie. I lost myself to his blood and turned on my own party. I would snap in and out of control, and I was barely able to get them away from the cult leader. He grew annoyed of my resistance, and so he slaughtered me on the spot. The only reason I ended up coming back was because my goddess intervened. You're probably wondering to yourself, what happened to the goddess 𝗂𝐿? If she did so much for me, why did I abandon her for 𝗂𝐿𝐼𝐄𝐿? That's because 𝗂𝐿 herself was a lie. She was no god, just a manifestation of those creatures in my mind trying to lead me astray. They needed that blood to push me over the edge of insanity. But they also didn't want me to die because they need my body alive. A year later, I attempted to kill my party again, due to insanity, of course, so I ended up surrendering myself to a church. I found a temple of 𝗂𝐿𝐼𝐄𝐿, and they revealed 𝗂𝐿's lies to me. They offered to cleanse me of my insanity, but warned me it would keep coming back until I cut off my ties with those creatures completely. As thanks for their help in restoring my mind, and desiring power to slay my greatest enemies, I became a paladin of 𝗂𝐿𝐼𝐄𝐿. So I guess you could say I became a paladin because of my own selfish desire, and to say thank you to a god that granted me freedom from my own madness. What do you mean, is my flirtation a natural skill of mine? You really know how to balance a conversation, don't you? I ended up learning this skill because I found out the voices were much quieter when I wasn't alone. And the best way to not be alone is to be in the bed of someone who doesn't mind a one-night stand. You ask her, did she enjoy the nights you spent together? Be honest. Oh, you want to know if I actually enjoyed our time together? How do I put this? I don't need anyone for my sanity anymore, since it's perfectly intact now. But that doesn't mean I don't enjoy the casual encounters here and there. So yes, I did use you for my own desires, but not because I needed to. As for your performance, you take commands very well. But you also know how to take control. It's exactly what I desire from a partner. So, I'd say you've kept me more than satisfied. I hope you can say the same. You want to know what blood I enjoy the most? Is it because you want to know if I enjoy your blood? Well, I'll tell you a secret about that. I don't actually crave blood. Maybe it's the mixed blood I personally have, but the things I crave most are dreams. You may have noticed by now, but I leave extra bites on you while you sleep. I can experience your dreams when I bite into you. And the dreams I enjoy the most are nightmares. The benefit of me consuming those dreams of yours means those nightmares stop affecting you. But I also get to learn a lot about you. Sorry, but your secrets aren't safe around me. She flashes her signature smug smirk at you, and you just roll your eyes. It makes sense why she knows all your weaknesses whenever you spend the night together. But as far as blood goes, I tend to favor regular human blood the most. It may sound a bit vanilla, but the flavor on its own is rather robust. And when you compare animal blood to it, well, they don't quite measure up. What? No further questions? Have I satisfied your curiosity enough? Guess we should focus on trying to escape. I'm not exactly looking forward to being mutilated by a cult again, so let's not take our time. You begin contorting your hands, and you finally feel your thumbs begin to dislocate. You remove the shackles from yourself, and give a smug smirk right back at Sorinah. Wait, how did you get out of your restraints? Could you have done that the entire time? Why did you wait so long? 1, she didn't ask if you could. 2, she never answers your more personal questions about her. So you may have just taken advantage of the situation. Remind me to smack the shit out of you. And kiss you when we get out of here. After resetting your thumbs, you fish out a lockpick that you've kept hidden on yourself. You begin fiddling with her own cuffs. Alright then, now that we have both of our restraints off, are you ready to kick some corrupted holy ass?